you started out in life up through age 16 differently than where you are now. What happened at 16?
Yes, sir. I was a lifeguard, summer job, and during one of our breaks, where all the kids had to get out of the pool,
Mm-hmm.
and lifeguards can have 15 minutes just to relax and
Yeah.
swim. We'll do whatever we want. And I was in the deep end, kind of flirting with another lifeguard, and
Rare for a 16-year-old.
yeah,
Yeah.
we do that. Um, and so our break was getting over with, and so
Mm-hmm.
she started swimming from the deep end to the shallow end, and I got out of the pool in the deep end, and I decided I'm going to dive over the top of her as she's swimming to the shallow end. And it was about 3 feet of water where I dove in, and it was like last second I realized she was away from the edge further than I thought she was.
Mm.
And so I had to change my dive last second to not hit her. And so I dove straight out and sort of straight down, somersaulted over the top of her and missed her, but hit the top back of my head on the bottom of the pool and instantly broke my fifth and sixth vertebrae.
Yeah, crushed him.
Broke my fifth, shattered my sixth.
Shattered your six. And then with that, what happened?
Ended up being paralyzed, spinal cord injury, paralyzed from, that's about the armpits down. 2/3 of my arms are paralyzed. I have very little feeling in my hands. My fingers don't, I can't grab anything. My fingers don't move.
Yeah. The categories I don't like so much. People would say, oh, he's a C6 quad or C5 quad. What do you do with that?
Not worry too much about it.
Not worry. No impact.
No, I don't. The word quad or quadriplegic isn't a negative connotation to me. Back in the 80s, it was used as a derogatory.
Right.
Term. Yeah, darn quad.
Well, and even the fast forward, people talk about you're disabled. And as we heard Lance's story in our last episode, and I'm certain we're about to hear with you, you don't view yourself as disabled, do you?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. I think. I try not to let it stop me from doing things.
Right.
It obviously slows me down.
Maybe that's a better way to put it. It's not a negative connotation. It's just the way things are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know in the 80s when I first got injured, they were coming out with these new politically correct terms. And what was one of them? Differently abled.
Differently able.
And it really bugged me.
I would think that would be more irritating than just
My brothers teased me about that.
Yeah.
You're not disabled, you're differently able. And I was like, oh.
giving them ammunition.
Yeah.
Just what you want to give brothers.
Yeah, three older brothers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we were meeting earlier, you were talking about, okay, you went in, hit the back of your head, C5 injured, C6 crushed, but you didn't think you were injured.
That happened, I had no pain. I just couldn't move. And she didn't know, the other lifeguard didn't know that I was injured either. And she sort of just grabbed me and started dunking me up and down, up and down, up and down. And when you get paralyzed in that way, you lose all your chest muscles, your abdomen, all these muscles that help you breathe.
Yeah.
And so the only thing working was my diaphragm, and it was really weak.
Yeah.
And I wasn't used to just breathing with that. So I'd be able to say like one word every single time I came up from being dunked up and down. And it was like, no, wait, something's wrong. I can't move. And finally she realized something seriously was wrong.
Yeah.
But I still didn't think it was serious. One of my brothers was managing the pool that night, and I actually tried to talk him out of, I couldn't move. They're holding me still in the water, and I couldn't, and I'm still trying to talk him out of calling an ambulance, and just, if you can get me home, I can sleep this off, no problem, I'll be fine in the morning.
Unbelievable. So panic wasn't a part of the component?
No.
When did it hit? When did you realize?
I think it hit more when I was in the ambulance and they put a IV in, and I couldn't feel that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Did I break my neck? And they're like, well, we can't say anything. We don't know until you have x-rays. So I remember the doctor came in after the x-rays and told me that I broke my neck and I'd most likely be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, use a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And I remember I closed my eyes. I think my dad said a single tear came down. And then when I opened my eyes, everything seemed like I accepted it.
In a moment.
I was a little bit of troubled childhood. I had three older brothers. I was in the shadow, I always felt. And I wasn't quite, I was depressed and somewhat, thoughts of suicide run through your head. I don't think it wasn't to the point where it ever happened, but, just kind of a thing that would happen.
I had my trouble spots. An older brother, I always found out how I could hit him in the fist with my nose, and it never worked out very well. I always made his hands hurt.
Well, the last day when I got injured, my brother that was about a year older than me, I got in a fight with him right before I had to go to work.
Yeah.
And I kicked him in the bad pair area
Yeah.
and left.
Yeah.
So that was my last fight.
Yeah.